Similar shapes. So we can see that AC is 2.5 and they want you to find the lengths of X and Y. So the link here is between these two sides because they are the same. So 11.52 divided by 7.2 will tell us the scale factor. So the scale factor is 1.6. So everything in here is 1.6 larger than obviously in the smaller triangle. So X is 3.5 times by that 1.6. 3.5 times 1.6 gives us 5.6. So X is 5.6 centimeters. Now if this is 2X, that is obviously 2 times 5.6 centimeters, which is 11.2. And then from to go to here to Y, we're going to do 11.2, and we're going to divide it by the 1.6 to find out the smaller value, which is 7. So Y is 7 centimeters. The diagram shows two similar square-based pyramids. The volume of the smaller one. As soon as you see anything about volume, you need to be thinking about small shape, large shape, and the scale factor. And then there's the option for lengths, areas, and volumes. So the volume of the smaller one is 30, and the volume of the larger one, 1920. The length of the smaller one is 5. Calculate the length of the larger one. So the scale factor of the volumes is 1920 divided by 30, so 64. To get from here to here, I'm going to cube root 64, which tells me 4. So the link between the sides is 4, and if I want to find the larger one, I'm going to do the scale factor of 4 times by the smaller one, so the length would be 20 for the larger shape. So, party pizza has a thin base with diameter 30. Two types of people offer the same value for money and have the same thickness. Calculate the price of party pizza. So, again, the scale factor is 30 divided by 20. So 30 divided by 20. So the larger one is 1.5 times bigger. So the cost will be 1.5 times the cost of the other pizza. So 1.5 times 7. So that's going to be £10.50 for the larger pizza. Calculate the lengths, look for the link. So these two sides are going to give us the scale factor. So 9.1 divided by 6.45. So we've got a scale factor of 1.4. If I want to go for FE, going from the smaller one to the larger one, I'm going to do times by the scale factor, 1.4 even, and I get 16.1 centimeters. And if I want to go to the smaller one, I'm going to divide 10.5 divided by 1.4, and I find that that's 7.5 centimeters. Next one, again, look for the link and fill in any information. So L to M is 3 centimeters, M to N is 2.5, P to R is 3.6, P to Q is 5.4. So the link are these two. So the scale factor is 5.4 divided by 3. So the scale factor is 1.8 in this case. Now RQ is in the larger shape, so it'll be 2.5 times the scale factor, which is 4.5 centimeters. And then LN is in the smaller one, so it'll be 3.6 divided by the scale factor, which is 2. Last topic, trigonometry curves. So find the values of x in the range which satisfy the action of cos x equals 0.5. So 0.5 is here. So the two solutions are this one and this one. Now this one here is at 60 degrees, and then that gap there must be the same. So that's 60, so that's a gap of 30, so that's got to be a gap of 30, so that's at minus 60. So the two values are minus 60 degrees and 60 degrees. Cos of x equals 0, so draw a line across at 0. Obviously it's just going over the top, and we'll find that the only value is 90 degrees. And then for cos of x as minus 0.6, minus 0.6 is going to be here, and then we're going to have to find what that value is up there by reading off the graph. So if you read off the graph, you find that it comes out at about 127 degrees. Now you've got to be careful here because this graph is only from 0 to 180, but they want in the range of minus 180 to 180. Now if we look at the cos curve on the back, we notice that from 0 to 180 it's identical from 0 to minus 180. So any values over here, we have the exact negative values over there. So for both of these, there is the negative equivalent that would also solve it properly. If there's 2 marks, chances are there's 2 answers. So given that cos of 58 is 0.5, so if we're looking at 0.5, that's somewhere by here, and they're telling us that that's equal to 58. So there are 2 solutions. There is one here that must be the 58, which this point here, remember, would be 90, and this point here would be 270. Now, if that's 58 there, that means the gap in there must be 32 to the 90. That means that this gap here must also be 32 degrees. So we've got 58 is already one of the solutions, and we've also got then that 270 plus 58 would be one of the other solutions, which would be 328 degrees. And then just a note to self, I've done the complete wrong question because it's asked for minus 5.299, so that would be down here instead. So that would be one of the solutions, and that would be one of the solutions. And again, same principle, the gap here would still be 32, so it's got to be 90 plus that 32, which is going to be 122 degrees, and it's going to be 270 minus it, which would be 248 degrees. So ignore those 2 because I read the question wrong. Sketch the graph of y equals cos of x plus 1 for values. So cos of 0 is usually at 1, but when we're adding 1, that means it's going to go up to 2. Cos of 180 is usually minus 1, but when we add 1 it will go to 1. It'll go to 0, sorry, and cos of 360 is usually 1, but that will go up again to the point 2, and then the curve will look like so. And that's the end.